What's going down? What's going down? It's that man with that plan. Oh Lord, Algorand is down. Pick that bag up. Sheesh. It's your boy Phantm Phuego, Phantm Phuego, and you are tuned into the news, views, previews, and reviews. I'm serious. Algorand is at 88 cents. What the hell? You know that shit gonna bounce back to at least 95, 96 cents. Get it in. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. But sheesh, this is his ghetto point of view. We bring you the news, views, previews, and reviews. Plus a little bit of financial advice. Come on, with Justin Twister, his ghetto point of view. Ooh. Yeah, we're going to look at the markets today. We haven't had a really serious market show in a while. Let's take a deep dive into the markets today, gang. Of course, we got to talk about some sports. Shouts to the South Carolina Gamecocks for taking home the championship trophy last night. That was very, very dope. Shout to UConn for having an amazing season. The young ladies in that program played exceptionally well. Paige Beckers, you're a beast. AZ Fudd, you know, you're going to be there. You're going to have your time. You just got to get a little bigger, a little stronger, a little faster, a little less like a deer in headlights in the big moments. Mom's a WNBA player. Her dad is a great AAU coach. I'm sure young lady AZ will be just fine. Paige was coming up like a monster. She just needed a little more help. Olivia Nelson-Odota, tried to help a little bit. Aaliyah Edwards tried to help a little bit, but not really their game. Kristen Williams didn't really step up like I thought she would have to match the intensity of the elder statesmen on South Carolina. Destiny went off 27 points, career high, and what arguably is probably her last game of her collegiate career. To go out on a bang like that, knowing you're projected to go top 10 in the WNBA draft, potentially, this is definitely a nice sign off and a way to highlight yourself to potential WNBA talent scouts against Gino Auriemma's UConn ladies team, which always sends a ton of young ladies to the WNBA. So, that was definitely a good test and a high-powered offense to go up against. So, shout to the girls from last night's game. Shouts to North Carolina and Duke for such an amazing game they had. Shouts to Kansas and Villanova as well for the amazing Final Four effort that they put on. Congrats to Coach Krzyzewski for such an amazing career. We're going to dig in. We're going to talk a lot. It's going to be a fun show. This is his ghetto point of view. Ooh, you tuned in. We here. Let's go. Yeah, gang. So we back as always. Any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, you know where to tap in. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. Let me do this right this time. Let me not spill this all over the place. Ha. Shouts to Grandma's Goodies with a Z, Grandma's with a Z, GRANDMAZ, and Goodies, GOODIEZ, for showing me some love, sending over this wonderful care package. Look at us, back in the swing of things, getting care packages again. Look at us. People value what we doing over here at his ghetto point of view, showing love, and we showing love as well. So shout out to Grandma's Goodies. Tap in with them. Anybody in the NYC metro area looking for some vegan, organic, infused, amazing creations, tinctures, topicals, literally anything you think of. Grandma's Goodies on all platforms: Twitter, Instagram, TikTokities, Snapchitties, Grandma's with a Z and Goodies with a Z. That stuff is amazing. This stuff is delicious. and absolutely 100% vegan. They're definitely mindful of other dietary restrictions. The tincture has me a little tongue-tied. Grandma's with a Z, Giddy's with a C. This stuff is fast acting, amazing, and delicious. Definitely tune in with them. I think they do a lot of wonderful events around the city. They will be at the NYC Cannabis Fest, being thrown by Father Nature Genetics, as well as Buttermilk 420 Farms. So definitely tap in with that. That should be a good time. Shout out to all those amazing brands. But on a flip side, let's talk about some psychedelics and how doctors who are in apparently going through what they describe as burnout are being recruited to try magic mushrooms for pandemic-related depression and anxiety. Insider.com story. This is from February 15th of this year. So the bullet points of the COVID-19 pandemic has shattered the mental health of doctors, nurses, and medics. Researchers are enrolling healthcare workers for a study of quote-unquote magic mushrooms as a potential solution. Psilocybin-assisted therapy has shown promise in studies of depression and end-of-life anxiety, meaning to not commit suicide. Yes, the doctors are so pent up and pretty much mentally distraught from having to do all of the tons of hours of overtime, seeing so many people lose their lives, etc., that they are being prescribed psilocybin, magic mushrooms, to cope with all of the stress, anxiety, tension, strife that they are going through, trying to handle these massively packed, insane, highly pressurized ER situations where people's lives are in their hands even more than normal. So the article goes on, Insider.com. Doctors who have been on the front lines of the pandemic since the first COVID cases appeared in the U.S. now have the opportunity to try an unorthodox form of therapy, shrooms. Therapy with the aid of psilocybin, the psychoactive component in magic mushrooms, has shown promise for treatment for forms of depression and end-of-life anxiety in a growing number of relatively small studies. No study has examined the effects of psilocybin-assisted therapy in burnt-out physicians, but the pandemic presents a unique opportunity to do so, especially now that the substance is quasi-legal in some parts of the country, making it easier to garner support for research. Months after Seattle's move to decriminalize all psychedelic substances, researchers at the University of Washington School of Medicine began seeking out doctors, nurses, and advanced practice providers who have clinically significant symptoms of depression and anxiety resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, trying to disrupt the cycle of negative thoughts built up over 2 years of pandemic. 2 weeks after the first case of COVID-19 was reported in the U.S., Dr. Anthony Back, an oncologist and palliative care specialist at University of Washington Medicine, said he remembers hearing about an ICU doctor in Seattle area who had been intubated in the intensive care after contracting the virus herself. Everyone just gasped, like, "Oh my God, this is gonna hit everybody." Back lead investigator of the psilocybin study told Insider, "I think there was a lot of fear in those days, especially when there wasn't enough PPE. Shortages of masks and supplies added to the stress and uncertainty of the first months of the pandemic," Back said, not to mention watching countless patients struggle to take their last breaths. I mean, I can only imagine, having to be a doctor and just watch people, like you take this oath to do no harm, and number one, you're having to do therapies and treatments on people and you're not even sure of the efficacy or of you doing it in this particular circumstance? How many people lost their lives because they got a treatment that wasn't ideal for what was the problem? It's so tragic. It's absolutely tragic. Article continues, as patients have continued to die of COVID-19 over the past 2 years, Back said many of their physicians have struggled with negative thought spirals, like I'm not a good doctor, I'm not a good nurse, no matter what I do, this person is going to die and it's going to be my fault. For some doctors, this cycle of thinking has ended in suicide, he added. Even more healthcare workers have seen their mental health deteriorate in insidious ways, like burnout or substance abuse. All things that psilocybin is magic mushrooms are argued to fight against. So this could actually be really good for professionals in a bunch of fields: police, firefighters, doctors, people who face high-level situations, people on Wall Street handling huge, amounts of money, people are high-level bankers or high-level crypto people handling tons of money. Those are very high-level pressurized situations, especially in times of war, times of political strife, times of political unrest, times of societal unrest. You've got a lot of people's futures all riding on the decisions you make. So you're probably not getting a lot of sleep. You're probably getting screamed at all the time. You're probably under heavy scrutiny. Little psilocybin, a few magic mushrooms, man, might be the particular thing that helps you in your therapy. Just saying. Truckers, cab drivers, people, man, listen. What psilocybin can do is it disrupts the cycle of thinking long enough for someone to have some relief from it, and usually some insights about what is going on. Back told Insider, psilocybin could provide a break, at least briefly. When the trial begins, all 30 participants will begin with 2 one-on-one therapy sessions where they can discuss what they've been through, what they like to gain from the experience, and what to expect on medication day. Then half of the participants will receive a dose of psilocybin, about the equivalent of 3 grams of dried mushrooms, about an eighth, while the other half gets a placebo or false treatment. Participants and researchers both will be in the dark about who gets an active dose. Psilocybin has been shown to help people with moderate to severe depression within less than a week, often with lasting benefits, said David Hellerstein, a research psychiatrist at Columbia University who has studied the drug along with therapy for treatment-resistant depression. Wow. Following treatment, people often feel more connected to others, to the natural world, and to the enhanced spirituality, and optimism. Hellerstein, who is not associated with the upcoming study, told Insider. Other studies have shown that psilocybin can offer profound relief of anxiety, depression, and other existential despair for terminal cancer patients, Hellerstein added. The therapy component of psilocybin studies is vital for putting any post-trip realizations into practice, Back said. In addition to the initial 2 sessions, participants will have 3 counseling sessions after their psilocybin visit, and that same therapist will be present for the individual's quote-unquote trip. Back said that some participants might be disappointed when they realize they got assigned to the placebo group, but it's an important element of any controlled trial. Those who got the placebo will also have the option to repeat the therapy with psilocybin after the study has concluded. So that's dope. Shout out to Business Insider for this excellent article. I think there are so many positive implications or benefits of psilocybin treatment. I know some people don't like the taste. Some people claim, it upsets their stomach. Get what some people would entitle as quote unquote gut rot, whatever. Because at the end of the day, you are eating something that is grown on dung, or in wild, mildewy, spore creating circumstances. So I can understand how that could upset some people's stomachs and digestive systems. But there are ways to go against that. Whether you steep it in some tea, make a nice tea with it, put it in some foods, do some extractions. There's definitely some positive ways. There's some definitely positive treatments. I think it's actually a much better option than ketamine and some of these more harsher man-made treatment options they have available. I personally think everybody should at least try some psilocybin, some magic mushrooms at some point in their life. The fact that they would give it to doctors should tell you, it's becoming more positively accepted, more widely available and accessible mainstream. High-level professionals are being able to use it and still perform at extremely good levels at their jobs. And it will. One could argue it could even help you perform better at your job if you can get some of the trauma and headaches and anxieties away from you, and you can just work. So. Just a thought, man. Ladies and gents, guys and gals, people of all persuasions, just my ghetto point of view. Ooh. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. Yeah, gang, we back. As always, any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, his ghetto point of view at gmail.com, his ghetto point of view at gmail.com, and you can always tap in and reach me on the IG pages, HGPOV show, his ghetto point of view podcast, and his ghetto point of view show, etc. Tap in. Tune in, get familiar. If there's any artists coming out that I need to be tapped in with, if there's any new albums I need to be reviewing, if there's any movies, any independent series, any independently programmed video games, any independently coded software apps, etc. that I need to be in tune on, his ghetto point of view at gmail.com, his ghetto point of view at gmail.com, HISGHEPOINT, his ghetto point of view at gmail.com, HGPOV show on Instagram, his ghetto point of view podcast on Instagram, his ghetto point of view pod. There's a couple different pages up there. Tap in, tune in, get familiar. So just wanted to piggyback off of the psilocybin conversation, magic mushroom, psychedelics, tripping out convo. Johns Hopkins University released a study from November of 2020, so a pretty recent study. The study is entitled "Psychedelic Treatment with Psilocybin Relieves Major Depression." Study shows major depression, not mild, not slight, major depression. Let's tune in. In a small study of adults with major depression, Johns Hopkins medicine researchers report that 2 doses of the psychedelic substance psilocybin given with supportive psychotherapy produced rapid and large reductions in depressive symptoms, with most participants showing improvement and half of study participants achieving remission through the 4-week follow-up. A compound found in so-called magic mushrooms, psilocybin, produces visual and auditory hallucinations and profound changes in consciousness over a few hours after ingestion. In 2016, Johns Hopkins medical researchers first reported that treatment with psilocybin under psychological supported conditions, meaning with somebody that's a practitioner, a therapist, whatever, significantly relieved existential anxiety and depression in people with a life-threatening cancer diagnosis. So just imagine you could relieve the depression in somebody that knows they're gonna die. And there's a lot of studies that show this. It just makes people at peace with life. At peace. Crazy. Now, the findings from the new study published November 4th in JAMA Psychiatry suggest that psilocybin may be effective in a much wider population of patients who suffer from major depression than previously appreciated. Way more people can benefit from magic mushrooms than are being allowed. The magnitude of the effect we saw was about 4 times larger than what clinical trials have shown for traditional antidepressants. 4 times larger. Says Alan Davis, PhD, adjunct professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. Because most other depression treatments take weeks or months to work and may have undesirable effects, this could be a game changer if these findings hold up in future, quote-unquote, gold standard, placebo-controlled clinical trials. The published findings cover a 4-week follow-up in 24 participants, all of whom underwent 2 5-hour psilocybin sessions under the direction of the researchers. Because there are several types of major depressive orders that may result in variation in how people respond to treatment, I was surprised that most of our study participants found the psilocybin treatment to be effective. So what they're saying is, because of so many different causes of depression, so many different types of trauma that can result in a depressive state for a person, and so many different types of depression, major, minor, mild, frequent, non-frequent, constant, inconsistent, bipolar depression, etc. The majority of the people in this study with all these varied forms and triggers of their depression found relief from psilocybin collectively, as a whole, across the board, no matter what their reasons or triggers or types of depression they were exhibiting. Like, think about that. That means there is a all across the board one fix, which is very hard to find in any type of science. A one size fits all, a magic bullet, if you will. Nothing is complete and nothing is going to work for everybody. But if they can get the majority of people a solution, that's a huge breakthrough in science. Period. Article continues, I was surprised that most of our study participants found the psilocybin treatment effective. Says Roland Griffiths, PhD, the Oliver Lee McCabe, the third professor in the neuropsychopharmacology of consciousness at the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine and director of the Johns Hopkins Center for Psychedelic and Consciousness Research. He says the major depression treatment treated in the new study may have been different than the reactive form of depression in patients they studied in the 2016 cancer trial. Griffiths says his team was encouraged by public health officials to explore psilocybin's effects in the broader population of those with major depressive disorder because of the much larger potential public health impact. This shit could be a game changer for the mass amount of the population, man. For the new study, the researchers recruited 24 people with a long-term documented history of depression, most of whom experienced persisting symptoms for approximately 2 years before enrolling in the study. The average age of participants was 39. 16 were men and 22 identified themselves as white. One person identified as Asian. One person identified as African American. Participants had to taper off any antidepressants prior to the study with the help of their personal physician to ensure safe exposure to this experimental treatment. It's crazy that the medications are not the experiment. Mushrooms that grow naturally in the ground. That's what we got to be careful about. It's like, to think that our society thinks that way. Just think about that. And all of the medications they give you are just stuff they find in the ground and then they add chemicals to. Just putting it out there. 13 participants received the psilocybin treatment immediately after recruitment and after preparation sessions, and 11 participants received the same preparation treatment after an 8-week delay. Treatment consisted of 2 psilocybin doses given by 2 clinical monitors who provided guidance and reassurance. The doses were given 2 weeks apart between August 2017 and April 2019 at the Johns Hopkins Bayview Medical Center Behavioral Biology Research Building. Each treatment session lasted approximately 5 hours, with the participant lying on a couch wearing eye shades and headphones that played music in the presence of the monitors. All participants were given the Grid Hamilton Depression Rating Scale, a standard depression assessment tool, upon enrollment, and at 1 and 4 weeks following completion of their treatment. On the scale, a score of 24 or more indicates severe depression, 17 to 23 moderate, 8 to 16 mild, and 7 or less no depression. At enrollment, participants had an average depression scale rating of 23. Think about that. Participants on average had a depression rating of 23. That's high level moderate depression that's at the end of the scale. Of course, you're gonna have some people that's under that, but dang, 23 is the end of the moderate scale. But 1 week and 4 weeks after treatment, they had an average depression scale score of 8. 8 is the low end of mild depression. After treatment, most participants showed a substantial decrease in their symptoms, and almost half were in remission from depression at follow-up. Participants in the delayed group didn't show decreases in their symptoms before receiving the psilocybin treatment. So it wasn't until after they received psilocybin treatment that for the entire group of 24 participants, 67% showed more than a 50% reduction in the depression symptoms at the 1 week follow-up and 71% at the 4 week follow-up. Overall, 4 weeks post-treatment, 54% of participants were considered in remission, meaning they no longer qualified as being what the fuck, bro? In this, they'd rather give you drugs and pills and make you see therapists who themselves sometimes need therapy weekly, bi-weekly, putting you on more and more pills when they could literally give you maybe 1 to 2 months of magic mushroom treatment and then wane you off after that, or possibly just put you on micro doses. Craziness. Really crazy the way this world works. But you could grow mushrooms for free, so there's that. I believe this study to be a critically important proof of concept for the medical approval of psilocybin for treatment of depression, a condition I have personally struggled with for decades, says entrepreneur and philanthropist Phantm Phuego, who supported the funding campaign for this study. How do we explain the incredible magnitude and durability of effects? Treatment research with moderate to high doses of psychedelics may uncover entirely new paradigms for understanding and improving mood and mind. This is a taste of things to come from Johns Hopkins. The researchers say they would follow the participants for a year after the study to see how long the antidepressant effects of the psilocybin treatment last, and will report their findings in a later publication. Griffiths, whose research with psilocybin began in the early 2000s, was initially viewed by some with skepticism and concern, says he is gratified by Johns Hopkins' support and heartened by the dozens of startups and research labs that have followed suit with their own research. He says numerous companies are now actively working to develop marketable forms of psilocybin and related psychedelic substances. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, there are more than 17 million people in the U.S. and 300 million people worldwide have experienced major depression. Think about that. You could help 300 million people with mushrooms. Potentially. At least 300 million people. Authors on the study include Frederick Merritt, Derek May, Mary Casimano, Nathan Cepeda, Matthew Johnson, and Patrick Finnan, all of Johns Hopkins. The study was supported by philanthropic donors, the Stephen and Alexandra Cohen Foundation, etc., etc. This is crazy. very, very dope. Very dope. I think that is, we need more studies on psychedelics. We need more very dope information coming out about what we can do with these things. I don't think enough is being done. But, we shall see. That was very dope. I am very, very... stuff like that makes me hopeful, makes me positive. And that Johns Hopkins study was from 2 years ago. That other article from the Insider, that was from February of this year. So we see a forward progress. You see on the news more and more discussions about psilocybin, magic mushrooms. So it is becoming mainstream, more popularized. And I think with everything that goes on with our military, our soldiers, certain children, how they grow up, and really horrendous conditions. I mean, if there are things that we can just give people that could help them cope better, live better, breathe better, reflect better on life, and have a more positive outlook, why not? Just his ghetto point of view. Ooh. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. Yeah. We back, gang. So, a little bit of crypto news. Shout out to Coin Telegraphs. Marcel Peckman, an article on options. For those that may not know, options trading is a very popular way to trade and kind of create leverage for yourself as you're trading in the market. So you can create potentially much more trading collateral on your behalf, essentially more money to trade with by doing these trading options, by leveraging your trade. So let's say you go into a situation with $100 to trade. By leveraging your trade, you could potentially give yourself much more money to invest than you actually have, a virtual loan, if you will. But the cool thing about it, as I've been learning, is you are only responsible to pay if you lose the money you actually invest. So if you invest $100 and you get to leverage $500, let's say, if you lose the $500, you've only lost $100. And this is what I think initially scares people and makes people hesitant to leverage trade, is because, oh my God, I don't want to be responsible for all that lost leverage. You actually aren't. So it's cool, but if you win the trade, you do get all of that leveraged money. It's actually a phenomenal system. And it's something I'm learning more and more about right now. And as I continue to learn about it, I will definitely pass that knowledge on to the Pham over here at his ghetto point of view. Ooh. You know what I mean? Because it's all about us learning and growing and getting to this bag together. So this article on Cointelegraph, how pro traders use Bitcoin options to profit even during a sideways market. Bitcoin price may be consolidating or even reaching a short-term stop, but that doesn't stop pro traders from using options to generate profits. Bitcoin price swings might be impossible to predict, but there is a I actually don't think that. I think knowing technical analysis and things allows you to predict the market somewhat, and studying the history, patterns, etc. of the market. Along with that analysis, taking care of, watch the news, a combination of those things will give you some idea of the swings of the market. But anyway, but there is a strategy frequently used by pro traders that yields high returns with minimal cost. Typically, retail traders rely on leveraged future positions, which are highly susceptible to forced liquidations. However, trading Bitcoin options provide excellent opportunities for investors aiming to maximize gains while limiting their losses. Using multiple call also known as buy options, can create a strategy capable of returns 6 times higher than the potential loss. Moreover, these can be used in bullish and bearish circumstances, depending on the investor's expectations. The regulatory uncertainty surrounding cryptocurrencies has long been a significant setback for investors, and this is another reason why neutral market strategies have drawn traders' attention since Bitcoin's rally stagnated near 47,000 on March 30th. Stagnated, blah, blah, blah. How to profit in a sideways market. The long butterfly strategy allows a trader to profit even if Bitcoin's price remains flat. However, it is important to remember that options have a set expiry date. This means that desired price outcomes must happen before a specific period. Didn't know that. So if you invest $100, you leverage up 5 times and you get $500 in leverage to play with, and you're expecting to win out to $2,000 within a 2-month time frame. If that doesn't happen, I guess you lost, is what I'm understanding. But let's keep reading. The Bitcoin options were set for the April 29th expiry in this example, but this strategy can also be used on ETH options or a different time frame. At the time of the writing, Bitcoin was trading at $47,370, and although the costs will vary, their general efficiency should not be affected. The suggested bullish strategy consists of buying 7.3 Bitcoin call options with a $46,000 strike to benefit from a price increase. Meanwhile, selling 16 Bitcoin call options at $50,000 creates a negative exposure above that level. The trader should buy 4.8 Bitcoin worth 52,000 call options and 3.9 at 55, balancing out the risk above this price. I see what he's saying. So as opposed to putting all of those eggs in one basket or all of that risk on one bet, split the bet up where you have 4.8 Bitcoin on one and 3.9 on the other, as opposed to buying 7.3 all in one call or all in one option or series of options, hoping that it all goes up to 50 grand and you'll be able to sell the coins at 50 grand. So they're saying instead bet 4.8 Bitcoin, buy 4.8 Bitcoin at $52,000 worth of options, and buy 3.9 at $55,000, balancing the risk. So, if the 3.9 doesn't get to 55, but the 4.8 gets to 52, you could just break even. Pretty reasonable. The gains can be 4 times higher than the potential loss. As the estimate above shows, any outcome between 46,700 down 1.5% and 53,500 up 12.9% yields a net gain. The best possible outcome happens at $50,000 and results in a 0.47 Bitcoin net gain. Meanwhile, this strategy has a maximum loss. This strategy's maximum loss is 0.11 Bitcoin if the price on April 29th trades below 46,000 or above 55. So you could also lose money if it trades above what your target was. Very good to know. The allure of this butterfly strategy is that the trader can secure gains that are 6 times larger than the maximum loss. Overall, it yields a much better risk reward versus leveraged futures trading, considering the limited downside. This option strategy trade provides upside even if Bitcoin's price remains flat, and the only upfront fee required is 0.11 Bitcoin, which also reflects the maximum cost. The views and opinions expressed are, of course, not of financial analysts. Go get a financial analyst and let them talk you through these things more and more. That is literally all I could say about that. But that's dope. We'll have more and more interesting conversations on things like stock splits, etc. And we will take it from there. I think 50K Bitcoin is coming, guys. Very soon, maybe. Very soon, maybe. Binance bunks went all the way up to $440. God damn, I remember when that shit was like $3. And New York has some ridiculous laws. I was one of the ones we couldn't get here in New York, and I didn't understand about VPNs and virtual private networks at the time, and that you could just pay a service or find even allegedly some free pretty good ones, and pretty much hide where you're at virtually so you can do purchases like that. But the more you know. VPNs, guys, if you're not aware of them, are a really, really good option if you're looking to purchase cryptos that are not available in your jurisdiction, or even do gambling or sports betting outside of your jurisdiction, if that's your thing. Just saying. Not endorsing any criminal activity. I do think it's a little ridiculous, though, that you think you should stop people from being able to invest in things with their own money if they're adults and they understand the risk that they could lose their money, they could go down to zero. If they understand those risks, then why, if they sign up willingly acknowledging and understanding of those risks, you have no right to regulate what a grown adult should be able to do with their money. Minor, yeah. Under 25, yeah. Under 21 and didn't have to take some type of course to understand crypto. Maybe, I don't even know then. Or maybe under 18 or 17 and didn't take any courses, at least make them take a course at 16, 17, 18 to understand the risk, pros and cons, that they can lose all their money, etc., etc. They have every right to then do what the hell they want to try to create generational wealth. Just saying. You can disagree with that all you want. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. His ghetto point of view at gmail.com. So, what do you think about that, guys? Do you think it's going up? Do you think that crypto's going up? Do you think that there are some important things going on in the market that will push the markets up and get us some nice returns? What do you think? Also, this quick article, top 5 cryptocurrencies to watch this week. Bitcoin, VET, Theta, Rune, and Aave. And this is, of course, article courtesy of Cointelegraph. Rakesh Upadhyay. Bitcoin is holding a key support level, allowing altcoins like VET, Theta, Rune, and Aave to push higher. Bitcoin is attempting to hold above its closest support level, and traders are watching to see if the price can remain strong and close above the 2022 yearly open price at $46,200 for the second week in a row. April has historically been the best performing month of the year for the S.2.5 500, according to Sam Stovall, chief investment strategist at CRFA. If history repeats itself and the close correlation between the United States equity markets and Bitcoin continues, it could bode well for crypto markets in the near term. Another sentiment booster could be that the 19 millionth Bitcoin entered circulation on April 1st. For the remaining 2 million Bitcoin, the crypto markets will have to wait for a long time because the last Bitcoin is expected to be mined by 2140. I thought it was 2040. Anyway, this could shift focus on how only a small quantity of Bitcoin is left to be mined, and its growing demand could lead to scarcity and boost prices even higher, which is what some people are banking on. Could Bitcoin hold above its critical support? And if it does, will altcoins rally? Let's study the charts of the top 5 cryptocurrencies that may extend their recovery in the short term. Bitcoin is witnessing a tough tussle between the bulls and the bears near the important level at 45,400. The bears tried to pull and sustain the price below this level, but the bulls held their ground. This suggests that the bulls are attempting to flip the level into support. The upslopping 20-day exponential move average, or EMA, of 44,300 on the relative strength index. I mean, you'd have to see the charts for this. It's pretty interesting. Okay, I'll just jump to the parts about. So the article pretty much suggests Bitcoin, that also known as VeChain, and I'll give a few points why. So if bulls thrust the price higher, the Bitcoin USD pair is likely to pick up momentum, and that's Bitcoin in comparison to the US dollar for those who day trade or trade currencies against one another. The rally could face minor resistance at the psychological level at 550,000, but if this level is crossed, the next stop could be 52,000. Yeah, this is not really helpful without seeing the charts. Let's move on. But don't worry, guys, I got something for all of these for all this stuff that requires visuals coming very shortly. I kind of gave it away a little bit, but you know. All right, so Bitcoin dices up with 46,000 as Elon Musk and Twitter buys send Dogecoin to near 2-month highs. It's going to be a good time for Bitcoin and altcoins right now. I'm not your financial analyst, but you might want to jump in, grab a few things. Might want to jump in there and grab a few things. I'm not your financial analyst, but you might want to jump into the market and grab a few digital ducats. You may want to jump into the market and grab a few digital ducats. Just saying, and understanding the concept of leveraging. Talk to a financial analyst, talk to a financial advisor. Talk to a financial advisor. Get more information on leveraging if that's something you want to consider. Doing options trading, you can do it on either the standard markets, Dow, NASDAQ, etc. Even through some of the apps, the Weebles, the Toros, a myriad of those apps will allow for that, as well as some of the crypto apps. So definitely check into that. But we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Shit. Yeah, we back, gang. So, it's April 1st. Those have been paying attention, keeping up with some of the more important things in the world, would remember that Pfizer was ordered to dump thousands of pages the first of each month. So on April 1st, a new set of papers were dumped, and there's some pretty damning information. If you guys have a moment, Kim Iversen, K-I-M-I-V-E-R-S-E-N, who works for The Hill, did a great story on this earlier today. You should definitely check that out. Plus, there's some other great writing going on about this. I know on the first, Pfizer and Moderna, I believe, tried to release a joint statement trying to say that they found complete efficacy in a new study out of South Africa, in safety. But listen, it's getting crazy out here. So, according to dailyexpose.uk, it's an article from April 4th. So today, Official government data suggests the fully vaccinated are suffering antibodies. Antibody-dependent enhancement, and the newly published Pfizer documents prove the FDA knew that would happen. So what is ADE, or antibody-dependent enhancement? ADE. So we know what that is before we jump into the article. Antibody-dependent enhancement. So the NCBHI, NIH.gov, defines antibody-dependent enhancement as, let's see, this is too much, I just need in some cases, antibodies can enhance virus entry and replication in cells. So the antibodies can enhance virus entry and replication in cells. This phenomenon is called antibody-dependent infection enhancement, or ADE. ADE not only promotes the virus to be recognized by the target cells and enters the target cell, but also affects the signal transmission in the target cells. According to chop.edu, antibody-dependent enhancement, ADE, is a phenomenon observed in animals during vaccine development against the coronavirus and measles, respiratory syncytial virus, and dengue viruses. And previously, in ADE, the inoculated animals develop the antibodies, but with time, the neutralizing antibodies decrease when the animals were exposed to the nature. Jesus. Yo, this is crazy. So the NIH is aware that antibody-dependent enhancement of the virus is happening. So having the antibodies in your body is causing you to have more of the virus in your system, and to cause yourself to be targeted even more by the virus. So if you get exposed to it, then in nature, the actual virus, you're more susceptible to getting sicker. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. The director of the CDC, Rochelle Walensky, warns of ADE, antibody-dependent enhancement, from Israel Data. And this was in August 23rd of 2021. According to Robert Malone, MD, inventor of the mRNA technology, a dreaded adverse side effect of COVID-19 vaccines is ADE, antibody-dependent enhancement, which has been described in animal studies. This is the interaction of the immune system with the virus, resulting in death of most vaccinated animals upon re-exposure to the virus. So they gave the virus to animals. This is a Jeffrey Doc, MD.com, DACH. This is credit to his website. ADE explained 2 types of antibodies. In this scenario, there are 2 types of antibodies in the experimental animals. The first type is the neutralizing antibodies, and the second type is enhancing antibodies. The neutralizing antibodies are preferred since they neutralize or completely eliminate the virus in the body. The enhancing antibodies are the problem since they enhance entry of the virus into the cells, enhancing viral replication and severity of the disease. Enhancing antibodies do not do exactly the opposite of the intended effect of the vaccine. Instead of protecting the animal, the vaccine makes the viral disease worse and kills the animal. This is pretty damning information. And Dr. Walensky, who is the head of the CDC, is quoted as saying, additionally, reports from our international colleagues, including Israel, suggest increased risk of severe disease among those vaccinated early. This is crazy. This is very scary. I don't know what you want me to This is not good. Okay, so continuing in the Daily Expose article, an investigation of official government data has uncovered that fully vaccinated individuals are up to 3 times more likely to be infected with COVID-19, 2 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID-19, and 3 times more likely to die of COVID-19 than unvaccinated individuals. You heard that correctly. Let me say that one more time. An investigation of official government data has uncovered that fully vaccinated individuals are up to 3 times more likely to be infected with COVID-19, 2 times more likely to be hospitalized with COVID-19, and 3 times more likely to die of COVID-19 than unvaccinated individuals. The question is, why? One possibility that is feared: the vaccinated are suffering vaccine-associated enhanced disease, leading to conditions such as antibody-dependent enhancement and cytokine storm. In effect, this means that COVID-19 injections cause a vaccinated person's immune system to go into overdrive when they come into contact with the actual virus, causing harm to the person and worsening the disease. But it turns out this possibility could actually be reality, because the latest round of confidential Pfizer documents published April 22nd, published the 1st of April 2022, confirmed that both Pfizer and the FDA knew vaccine-associated enhanced disease was a possible consequence of the mRNA COVID injections, and they received evidence of it occurring, including several deaths, but swept it under the carpet and claimed no new safety issues have been raised. You will most likely know many vaccinated people who have still gone on to be infected with COVID-19 virus, and you have most likely heard many of them say sometimes along the lines of, "Thank God I had my jabs, otherwise this would have killed me," or maybe something like, "If I am this bad after having 2 jabs, then I dread to think of how you'll be if you catch it, because you're unvaccinated, aren't you?" You'll have probably noticed that a lot of vaccinated people who have gone on to catch COVID-19 have actually been bedridden and unable to even perform the most basic duties, such as working from home. But if you're one of the lucky ones who have remained unvaccinated and caught COVID-19, you probably left wondering what all the fuss is actually about, because you most likely found that it was no worse than a mild dose of the common cold. So why is it that you, who has remained unvaccinated, felt absolutely fine when you were exposed to the alleged COVID virus, but your fully vaccinated friends and family were extremely ill? Again, this is the dailyexpose.uk. Well, it could have something to do with the antibody-dependent enhancement, because it's precisely what official government data suggests is occurring. The evidence. The UK Health Security Agency, also known as the UKHSA, which is the brainchild of ex-Health Secretary Matt Hancock, and recently replaced Public Health England. Public Health of England publishes a weekly COVID vaccine surveillance report containing data on COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths by vaccination. Up until their week 3 report, the UK HSA had included the COVID-19 case, hospitalization, and death rates per 100,000 for both unvaccinated and double vaccinated people in England, but then they decided to exclude these figures and only publish the rates for the unvaccinated and triple vaccinated population. The rates are calculated by dividing the total population size of each vaccination group by 100,000 and then dividing the number of cases, hospitalizations, or deaths among each vaccinated group by the calculated figure. I wonder why they decided to stop putting the double vaccinated group in there. Example, 3 million double vaccinated divided by 100,000 equals 30 equals 50. What? This doesn't make any sense. 305,000 cases among the double vaccinated? 3 million double vaccinated divided by 100K equals 30. 500,000 cases among double vaccinated divided by 30 equals 16,666.6 cases per 100,000 population, or roughly about 16,667 cases per 100,000 people, which is a lot. Questions were raised at the time as to why the UK HSAs decided to stop publishing the rates for the double vaccinated, mainly because in the weeks prior they were beginning to look terrible for the double vaccinated population. But as is usually the case, the UK HSA never provided a reason. This article was crazy. Wow. Oh my gosh. Guys. And what's insane is they just approved a 4th shot for people 50 and over, right? And this is showing how double vaccinated people were having insane problems. So what's going to happen to triple and quadruple vaccinated people when they get antibody dependent enhancements? So I'm going to skip on to the part about antibody-dependent enhancement. Intensive research conducted by health experts throughout the years has brought to light increasing concerns about quote-unquote ADE, or antibody-dependent enhancement, a phenomenon where vaccines make the disease far worse by priming the immune system for a potentially deadly overreaction. ADE can arise in several different ways, but the best known is dubbed the Trojan horse pathway, quote-unquote. This occurs when non-neutralizing antibodies generated by past infections or vaccination fail to shut down the pathogen upon re-exposure, i.e., the virus coming to your body now, and now it's a live version of it, and it does not shut it down. Your body can't fight against it. In fact, now your body is completely weak against it and just inviting it in to just go crazy. Instead, they act as a gateway by allowing the virus to gain entry and replicate in cells that are usually off limits, typically immune cells like macrophages. That, in turn, can lead to a wider dissemination of the illness and overreactive immune response that cause more severe illness. Even Dr. Anthony Fauci, the chief medical advisor to the President of the United States, admitted when discussing the COVID-19 vaccine that this would not be the first time a vaccine that actually looked good actually made people worse. In 2016, a dengue virus vaccine was designed to protect against all 4 serotypes of the virus. The hope was that by inducing immune responses to all 4 serotypes at once, the vaccine could circumvent the issues related to ADE following disease with dengue virus. The vaccine was given to children in the Philippines. However, 14 vaccinated children died after encountering dengue virus in the community, as they had developed antibody responses that were not capable of neutralizing the natural virus circulating in the community. In previous clinical trials of vaccine candidates to combat SARS and MERS, the studies each failed during the animal phase due to ADE, also known as pathogenic priming or a cytokine storm. Phase 3 clinical trials are designed to uncover frequent or severe side effects before a vaccine is approved for use, including ADE. But herein lies the problem. None of the COVID-19 vaccines have completed Phase 3 clinical trials. Pfizer's Phase 3 trial is not due to complete until February 8, 2024, after previously being estimated to complete in April 2023. That is crazy. That is scary. Like, what? Like, that is absolutely scary. That is absolutely scary. Yeah, guys, this article is very, very good. It goes on and lists several different key Pfizer documents that were just recently released. These UK reports. I highly recommend it. Again, the dailyexpose.uk. Official government data suggests the fully vaccinated are suffering antibody-dependent enhancement. And the new published Pfizer documents prove Pfizer and the FDA knew it would happen. By the Daily Expose. It's an amazing article. It's a very lengthy, well-published report. Really good read. Yeah, I mean, this is very good. Definitely recommend checking it out. But that's going to be it for us today, gang. See you guys in a few days. Same bad station. Tap in. Hit your notification bell so you know when we go live. And you never miss a minute. You never miss a moment. You never miss a beat. Shouts to everybody who taps in. If you haven't done so, check back and check out all of our previous episodes. Check out the most recent interview I did with B Fortune. That was really dope. Shouts to her. Shout out to everybody who's interviewed on the show. Done so many amazing interviews at this point, man. I just feel so blessed and lucky to have so many people who will support the wave, support the vibe, and come through to have a good time. This is his Ghetto Point of View. Bring you the news, views, previews, and reviews. We just a twist of his Ghetto Point of View. Ooh. See you soon. Peace.